Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie1098 coming at you live once again. I know you can't really see me right now because this is just my hands, but a lot of people have asked me, Boogie, I bought some Magic cards recently. I got a deck builder's toolkit, or I bought some stuff, and I'm ready to build my own first deck. And so I've taken a random sampling of cards, and I've taken my basic lands. I've already sorted my basic lands, and we'll talk about those in a minute. Say you have this assortment of collection of cards, and your deck builder's toolkit, or your random assortment of boosters. What I'm going to ask you to do, and I'm going to do this now with this series of cards, you're going to organize them by their colors. And in this case, it's a little more complicated than what you may be working with, because I have a lot of gold cards. But you may be opening Return to Ravnica. So I'm going to sort these, and I'll get right back to you in just a second. So as you can see, I've taken this small collection of cards that I have here. I've sorted them out by color. And now once you do this, you should take a look at each individual color and see what cards speak to you in that pile of colors. Because as you can see, mine's fairly evenly split between my white cards, my green, my red, my black, and my blue. Yours may not be evenly split. Maybe there'll be more of one color than another, and maybe that's the color you should play. Maybe you have a really interesting rare or mythic rare that you want to play with, and you'll build around that. The choice is really yours. In this particular case, I've looked through these collection of cards, and I'm going to choose black and green to build with, because the majority of my good creatures seem to be green. The majority of my good removal seems to be black, but it's also because those two colors really speak to me. And if this was one of the first decks I'd ever play, that's what I would choose. Also, since I opened some Return to Ravnica for this box, I also have some really cool black and green cards that will work well for what we're doing. So I thought I'd build with that. So let's eliminate all of our other cards that are not of the colors that we're wanting to use here. And let's concentrate for now just on black and green. I've also chosen two lands here that are better than basic lands because they could provide either green or black mana. The first being Transguild Promenade, which is useful for producing any color of mana. And I've also chosen a Golgari Guildgate. These will go into my deck in place of basic land, but we'll talk about land in a second. First, I'm going to sort my black and green cards based on their casting cost. As you can see, I've now laid out my cards based on their casting cost, starting all the way here at 1 mana. Here are the things that cost 2 mana. Here's the things that cost 3, the things that cost 4, the things that cost 5, and here's the things that cost 6 or more. Now, I've done this because we like to build Magic decks based on what we call a curve. You want to be able to have some things to play on your first turn, your second turn, your third turn, your fourth turn, your fifth turn, your sixth turn. And as the game progresses, there's a lower chance that you'll be able to play enough land to play something that costs very, very much, and a higher chance you'll be able to play something that costs very little. You'll always be able to play your low casting cost spells. Not always guaranteed to pay your high casting cost spells. So you want less of these and more of these. And things around the 3-drop tend to be very, very powerful, very, very useful, and very easy to cast. So that tends to be the center of your curve. Now, a basic Magic deck is going to have between 23 to 25 lands, meaning you'll have between 35 and 37 non-land spells. So we have much more than 37 spells here. So what you want to do once you've done this with your collection is count the number of cards that you've got of those colors and try to eliminate some spells that you don't think you'll ever get to play. For example, the chances of me getting to play this giant worm for 7 mana is fairly unlikely, so I don't think he'll make the cut of my deck, nor his copy of his friend. Though at 7 mana, this card has, or at 8 mana, this card has quite the effect, so maybe I'll choose to keep it in, especially since I get to populate and have so many different tokens. Not only when you're looking through these cards are you looking at casting cost and efficiency, but you should also be looking for common theme. For example, I have a good number of creatures that are hard to block, as well as good creatures that have Scavenge. And I think Scavenge is going to be the overall theme of the deck I'm putting together here. So I'm going to eliminate some cards and try to make a final deck to add land to. I've now chosen a total of 35 cards, a variety of black and white, slightly more green than there is black in this collection. So I'm going to use that to alter my land. I'm now going to take those 35 spells and add a 25 land pocket to them. In this particular case, I've chosen to go with one. Hope that's islands. In this particular case, I've chosen to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 swamps, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 forests, and 2 non-basic lands that will provide either black and green, which brings us up to, I think, 24 or 25 lands. Should be 25 to make a 60 card deck. If not, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4, 25. 25 land and 35 spells. So now we're ready to shuffle it all up and play our first games. And as we play the games with these cards, we'll get an idea of what cards are working and what cards are not working. Now, unfortunately, I don't have anybody around with today that I can play, so you just have to imagine that yourself. But that's how I would build my first Magic deck out of a starter kit, and I hope you do the same. Let me know how your deck turns out.